Boom! What's going on, aviators? Andrew here, and today we'll be going over 2020 in review and lay out some of the plans that we have for 2021. There's a lot of ground to cover, so stick around for an inside look at what we've done this past year, the ups and the downs, and what we aim to accomplish next year. So 2020 started a little rocky for the company, but shaped up for the better in the latter quarter of the year. In January, we kicked off the year with a couple printed figures and our second official season pass, which quickly became one of our most sought after products. In February, we hosted our very first company day, which we called AV Day, celebrating 2 years in business. We had a huge release of new decals, casts, cloth items, and the introduction of our first subscription service called AV Elite. This granted subscribers 10% off all orders up until February 4th of 2021, along with exclusive decals and cloth only available to our AV Elite subscribers. We also had a second tier available called AV Elite Plus, which granted 10 lucky members access to pre-orders on all limited releases throughout the year and a printed version of that exclusive decal. From there, we launched a variety of products such as a small wave of sets, a couple more printed figures, holiday exclusives, another season pass, and made the shift to eco-friendly packaging to help reduce our post-consumer waste and do our part to limit our carbon footprint. A few months had passed with a number of struggles happening behind the scenes, including but not limited to our UV printer breaking down, various interpersonal members among our then staff members, but we moved past these issues, changed our internal staff hierarchy, and then came together to host an auction that helped earn the company enough money to purchase a new UV printer. This helped to increase some of our sales in the short term, allowing us to invest in new equipment and software that would help us fulfill orders faster, along with hiring a new staff member, Alejandro, to help us pack orders. We also hired more team members to help with the growing amount of emails we get for inquiries and order issues, and now have a customer service staff of 3 dedicated members who answer emails around the clock on weekdays. So it was around June when we realized that we were starting to get to a point in our sales that we could start to make a difference. We made the decision to back the Black Lives Matter movement and were able to donate $1,000 to the nonprofit from our sales in June. This sparked a desire in me to continue committing a portion of our profits to charities or worthy causes as a way of giving back and making a positive impact on the world through the products that we create. Throughout summer, we focused heavily on releasing more of our custom sets, hosted one more auction to fund the down payment that we needed for our first wave of injection molded helmets, and released another season pass. Summer was riddled with further behind-the-scenes problems, most of which revolved around a falling out that we had with a now former team member, and struggles in calibrating our printer to the level of quality that we were aiming for. We faced a number of setbacks in releasing our sets, such as the boxes not arriving in time, parts not being sent to us properly, and close to 1,000 misprinted figures as I learned how to operate the UV printer properly. So it was riddled with mistakes, but we managed to bounce back from that. After we got past the production of the sets and their long overdue shipping, we purchased a 3D printer and began delving into the world of 3D printing our own accessories and prototype helmets. We also hired on new staff members to help us make decals and figure designs, who we affectionately call Figutechs. These guys have put an immense amount of work into our recent products and are working hard at a project that we call Overhaul. More on that later. Beginning in September, I finally calibrated the UV printer to a point where we were producing figures with solid alignment. In fact, we got it down so well that we were the first company to produce wraparound arm printing for clones. This was a groundbreaking development for printed clones and offered a new tier of quality that the community hadn't seen before. In October, we released a series of pink recolors that helped us fund a $2,800 donation to the National Breast Cancer Foundation. We also released another season pass, restocked the Ultimate Legion pack complete with wraparound arms, and began 3D printing some of our custom weapons and accessories. In November, we were able to raise $4,400 to donate, providing shelter and provision for homeless people in the LA County through the California Community Foundation, and help veterans transition back into civilian life through the USO. We were also able to hire 2 new staff members to help pack orders, raised our casting efficiency to be able to create more helmets for everyone. As you can see, there's over 1,000 helmets in this little bucket here. And we also purchased a new decal printer that will help pave the way for new quality standards in decals. We fervently prepared for Black Friday and Cyber Monday, where we dropped all of those 3D prints I mentioned, an exclusive print in Shadow Cody, tons of new decals and helmets, and released the very first figure of our high-end Vunobi's Vault lineup. We introduced many new casted helmets and set a new bar for custom figures, enhancing the options for decalers and collectors alike. In December, we were able to launch another season pass, a fully decked out Din Djarin in full Beskar armor, and one final printed figure for the year, which was Decorative Doom. We also made the decision to discontinue our line of set instructions and decided that we will only produce one more wave of sets before discontinuing those permanently. We also invested heavily in the development of a new UV printer jig that would assist in expediting the process of production while creating more consistently aligned prints. Our current jig suffers from warping due to being made of a lower grade metal and suffers from alignment issues in certain slots that have worn down over time. Now, these were all accomplishments that we achieved, but it was not without struggle. Over and over and over and over again, we stumbled along the way. There were times where we released products too early, resulting in production delays and letting our customers down. There are times where we offered custom designs that took way too long to design and ship. There were other times where we handled our interpersonal problems poorly, leading to bitter interactions between former team members. There were times where we trusted the wrong people, invested time and money into the wrong things, prioritized the wrong products, and much, much more. 2020 as a whole was a huge learning experience for everybody in the company. We learned what went wrong and how to avoid it. We learned what went well and how to expand on that. And moreover, we learned what direction that we want to move in and how we're going to do it. For starters, let's take a look at some analytics. Here's a graph of our orders over time throughout the year. We've always had struggles with turnaround times on orders, so we hired more people. However, even as we hired more people, our sales volume kept growing, which meant that our rate of packing still remained fairly slow. At the beginning of the year, we had 1 staff member packing orders. Now, we have 6 dedicated workshop members assigned to roles to expedite the production and fulfillment of our products. We are now capable of packing upwards of 300 orders per week when we have everybody working together. None of this would have been possible without your support, and we are now equipped with the staffing to pack orders at a much faster rate than before. We are also investing in new software that could potentially expedite the shipping process immensely, but developments are still a little too early to give details on at this moment. We used to cut our decals out 1 sheet at a time. This wasted dozens, if not hundreds of hours worked as our sales volume continued to increase. Now, we print and cut decals in bulk, cutting stacks of hundreds of decals at a time as part of our fulfillment process. We used to cast just 4 helmets at a time. Now, we cast several molds with 9 helmets in each, exponentially increasing the number of casts that we output. Again, take a look at this bin right here. This is literally just like a week or 2 of casting. We used to micromanage our few staff members, and now we have a diverse staff of over 20 different staff members keeping various parts of the business running smoothly. We used to have only 1 person answering customer service emails, and now we have 3 staff members dedicated to answering them consistently around the clock on weekdays. We used to pinch our pennies to pay bills on time, and now we were able to donate thousands of dollars to help make a positive impact around the world. Once again, 2020 has been a year of growth and learning, but now we are well prepared to face 2021 with a new set of goals, equipment, staff, and materials. So, what is the big plan for 2021? Well, we're working on a more comprehensive roadmap to share with everyone, but for now, we can share a few of our goals throughout next year. We may or may not hit all of them, but it's better to aim high and miss high than to set our expectations too low. In 2020, our big focus was to acquire the equipment that we needed to start mass producing items. Our scale was much smaller at the beginning of the year, so we focused heavily on selling to our returning customers to build up the capital that we needed to acquire the equipment and staffing that we need to grow our production lines. Now, we have the right staffing, almost all the equipment we need, and the capital we need to bring a larger scale of production into the picture. In 2021, since mass production is going to be our biggest focus, we will utilize our new resources to create products that will not only satisfy our existing customer base, but offer enough supply to satisfy new customers as we aim to grow our audience. But how do we plan on doing that? The first thing we aim to accomplish in 2021 is to get a new jig for UV printing. We're currently working on a new jig that will eliminate all the issues that make UV printing an inconsistent hassle. For starters, on our current jig, our front slots are overly sharp and sometimes scratch our prints. This makes figure removal and flipping the prints over to print on the other side a really time-consuming hassle. It doesn't take very long to perform this for 1 figure, but when you're trying to flip over 60 figures per print run, and you're trying to do multiple print runs per day, it becomes very time-consuming. The jig is also not consistent in sizing, and it is made of a lower grade metal that is often subject to shrinkage in colder temperatures and expansion in warmer temperatures. So our alignment shifts and suffers from inconsistencies just due to the temperature of the room. Additionally, our side slots can be too tight and can scrape the figure at some times, and our arm slots are way too loose. To fix this, I've designed a tester jig to pinpoint the most favorable sizing for our prints. This is made of a higher grade metal that does not shrink or expand under the temperatures that we print in. The next step is for us to design a larger jig made with these measurements for mass production. We've dialed in on the measurements that we're looking for and we'll be putting this into production shortly. The design makes it easier to flip the figs over to print on the other side, eliminating the possibility of scratching, and features more accurately sized slots for ideal printing every time. The next big thing that we're working on is a project that we call Overhaul, which is a big template update for all of our decals. We have hundreds of different decals here, so this is a bit of a daunting task to undertake. Here's a look at what the new template looks like, side by side with the current template. We redesigned our decals from the ground up using new design techniques developed by Darren and David, 2 of our Figutechs responsible for creating the template updates. The Figutex and I put our minds together to refine the details, make them more accurate to clones as they appear in Battlefront 2 for the realistic designs, and more accurate to animated clones as they appear into the show that we all know and love. We cleaned up our file structure to streamline the design process as well. These templates will also come with decals for our upcoming injection molded helmets, which have the most screen accurate detailing on the market. To add to that, the new decal printer we purchased has more than twice the resolution capabilities, which produce decals that rival the sharpness of pad printing. To those of you who prefer decaling on official helmets, worry not. We will have the official LEGO helmet decals available as standalone items for 97 cents each. Now, when is this all set to release? We're aiming to launch it all on AVF Day, which is February 5th of 2021. This day would mark our 3rd year in business, so it's only fitting that our biggest update in company history would launch on that day. We've been wanting to make injection molded helmets from day one, and 3 years later we're finally going to release them. We aim to release the injection molded helmets, the new decals of the new template, standalone official helmet decals, all on February 5th, 2021. Now, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done for overhaul, so there is a possibility that we won't be able to finish the immense amount of work on time. We'll keep you posted as to the status of the template updates and let you know closer to the end of January if we're still on track for this release or not. We may have to push it back depending on how quickly we can knock out this project. Around the time overhaul completes is when we should receive our new UV printer jig that I mentioned is in development. We're going to shift our focus to UV printing as many figures as possible and solve the supply issue that we're currently having with our printed figures. This means more figures at a better price for everyone. If it all pans out as planned, we'll also have a new jig developed to enable us to UV print on helmets. While I focus on this, our Figutex will continuously be designing new decals, so we'll be dividing our resources to provide products on both fronts. This also opens the door for a new line of high-end products that we wish to offer, which is essentially the Ultimate Collector series of AV figures. They won't be as expensive as Vunobi's Vault, by the way. Note that this will be a separate product line from our core line of more affordable prints and is not intended for every customer. We will continue to make affordable figures that will satisfy the average customer, but this high-end line of figures is meant for the ultimate collectors who are looking for the highest level of detail and quality that we have to offer. A strong supply of injection molded helmets, paired with an increased production of printed figures and the decal printer capable of printing decals at a higher standard of quality, will make for an incredible and diverse product lineup in 2021. We also aim to have huge updates to our website to streamline your shopping experience, eliminate the website bugs that we've been having, undergo a rebranding project, and restructure our employer hierarchy and systemize our staffing operations behind the scenes. More details will be released regarding the website and rebranding project as they come. We also have at least 6 different monthly subscription boxes planned to launch at various times in 2021, but their release dates depend greatly on how quickly we get our website updated, receive our new jig, and launch our injection molded helmets. These boxes vary in product type, from mystery boxes to printed figures and various things in between. We also plan to introduce new decaling supplies to the store, such as bulk access to microset and microsol, tweezers, mold line removers, and a large supply of blank figures, third-party accessories, so on and so forth. 2020 was a year of capital growth, and 2021 will be a year of expansion where we delve into providing more products and supplies for DIY and DFY alike. Aside from that, we also want to put our next waves of injection molded helmets into productions, which include, but are not limited to, P1 and P2 ARF, P2 pilots, comms helmets, BARC helmets, Bacara helmets, Phase 1 visors, Phase 2 visors, macro binoculars, rangefinders, clone blasters, clone backpacks, commando attachments, and hopefully more as the year goes on. Depending on how quickly things move, we are also interested in picking up a pad printer. But pad printing introduces a whole new world of possibilities, but comes with a whole new learning curve that we have yet to even touch. So it would be unwise to even attempt to do so without first maximizing our current resources before investing in new machinery. However, a prerequisite for getting a pad printer and growing our operations would be to move out of my living room and into an actual office space. Paying for rent and utilities in a commercial space, on top of paying for mortgage and utilities in our home, is no easy task. But acquiring a commercial office space is one of the biggest goals that we have for 2021. To achieve the level of production that I want this company to have, we need to move operations out of the house and into a larger space dedicated for the business. This project will probably cost us several $1,000s, so we have a long way to go before this is even possible. But I'm keen on moving into that office space by Q4 of 2021. Once we acquire a commercial office space, it opens up the possibilities for us to get a pad printer and perhaps even an injection molding machine. Now, these two machines are goals that may or may not be achieved within 2021, but it's definitely going to happen at some point in this company's future. On top of all that, every month we will be donating a chunk of our profits to charities and worthy causes to make an impact on the world through the products that we offer. So, TLDR. 2020 was focused on selling to returning customers to develop the capital that we needed to expand our operations. 2021 will be focused on using that capital to produce more, sell to new and existing customers at higher quantities and better prices, and expand our operations to a commercial office space, which opens the doors for all sorts of new possibilities. If you made it this far in the video, I want to thank you for an incredible 2020 and for sticking around all this time. We have some incredible plans for 2021 and beyond, and we're counting on your support to make it all happen. We were able to donate upwards of $8,000 this year to charities and help to contribute further donations by sponsoring a charity auction hosted by one of our Discord moderators, Brady. Next year, I'd like to try to get that donation amount up to at least $15,000 or more. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and here's to a great 2021. Remember, always go above and beyond. Catch you later, aviators.